Hi everyone, I want to ask you a question right here, right now. How many of you have ever wanted to make a change? I'm talking about a real, lasting change, something that transforms your life in a way that isn't temporary but becomes a part of who you are. How many of you have tried to lose weight, improve your relationships, make more money, or take control of your emotions, but found yourself back where you started, or worse, even further behind? Let me tell you something right off the bat, change is inevitable. But progress is optional. Let that sink in for a moment. Life is always changing, circumstances change, the world changes, technology changes, but the question is, are you growing with it? Are you creating progress in your life, or are you waiting for circumstances to change before you do? You see, many of us live our lives with the belief that external conditions need to change for us to feel better, for us to make progress. But here's the truth, it's not the external conditions of our lives that shape us, it's the decisions we make, the standards we set, and the actions we take consistently. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, how to create lasting change, how to move from where you are to where you want to be, and make that change stick. 1. The power of decision. The first step in creating lasting change, ladies and gentlemen, is understanding the power of decision. Some people think that decisions are something that happen in a single moment, but real decisions are the catalyst for lasting change. A true decision cuts off any other possibility. Maybe it's not a hope to, it's a must. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you told yourself you should do something? You should work out more, you should eat better, you should spend more time with your family, you should take that leap in your career. But what happens when we live in should mode? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because should is weak. Should gives us an out. When you say you should do something, you're leaving the door open to not doing it. If you want to create lasting change, you need to make a decision. And by decision, I mean you have to decide that this is no longer a should. It's a must. You need to turn your shoulds into musts. When you do that, your entire psychology shifts. Your brain is no longer looking for reasons to justify not doing something. It's looking for ways to make it happen because you've committed. But here's where the magic happens. When you make a decision, it's not just about committing in your mind. You have to back it up with action immediately. Why? Because a decision without action is the mother of all frustration. It breeds procrastination. You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't take action, they're worthless. Let me tell you about a time in my life when I made a decision that changed everything for me. Many of you know my story. I was struggling. I was broke. I was overweight. My relationships were a mess. I felt like my life was spinning out of control. But then one day I made a decision that I was going to change my life. I wasn't just going to improve it, I was going to completely transform it. And I didn't just sit around waiting for something to happen. I took massive action. I started reading books, listening to tapes, attending seminars, doing whatever it took to condition my mind and body for success. And that's what I want you to take away from this. First principle: decisions determine destiny. If you want to change your life, you have to make a decision, and then you need to back that decision up with massive, consistent action. 2, raise your standards. Now let me ask you this, how many of you have set goals but didn't achieve them? I think most of us have been there. The problem isn't that we didn't want it bad enough. The problem is that our standards were too low. If you want lasting change, you have to raise your standards. Let me be clear, your life is a direct reflection of the standards you set. If your standard is that you'll make just enough money to get by, that's exactly what you'll do. If your standard is that you'll work out when you feel like it, you're probably not going to see the physical transformation you're after. But if your standard is that you demand more from yourself physically, emotionally, financially, you'll rise to meet that standard. Now, here's the kicker when you raise your standards. You're not just making a wish, you're making an identity shift. You're telling yourself, this is who I am now. This is what I demand for myself. And when you do that, you begin to change your habits, your beliefs, and your actions to align with those standards. Think about any area of your life where you've been consistently successful. It could be your career, your health, your relationships, whatever it is. I guarantee you've set high standards for yourself in that area. You expect more from yourself, and because of that, you deliver more. Let me give you an example. I've worked with some of the most successful athletes, entertainers, and business leaders in the world, and do you know what sets them apart? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's their standards. They have higher standards for themselves than anyone else has for them. They don't settle for good enough. They push themselves to be the best because they demand it from themselves every single day. And guess what? You can do the same thing. The moment you raise your standards, the moment you decide that you will no longer accept anything less than excellence in any area of your life, you begin to transform. You start to attract the resources, the people, and the opportunities that align with those standards. 3, change your limiting beliefs. Now let's talk about beliefs. What are beliefs anyway? Beliefs are simply feelings of certainty about what something means. And let me tell you something, your beliefs control your entire life. You can have the best strategies in the world, but if your beliefs don't support them, you'll sabotage yourself every single time. How many of you know someone who has all the tools and resources to succeed but can't seem to get ahead? Chances are they've got some limiting beliefs holding them back. So if you want to create lasting change, you've got to identify and eliminate your limiting beliefs. Let me give you an example. When I was younger, I used to believe that because I came from a poor background, I was destined to be poor. That belief shaped everything I did. I was constantly sabotaging myself because deep down I didn't believe I deserved success. But then I realized something, our beliefs are nothing more than stories we tell ourselves. And the good news is, you can change the story. When I changed my belief from I'm destined to be poor to I'm the master of my own destiny, everything shifted. My actions changed, my results changed, and most importantly, my life changed. So what are the beliefs that are holding you back? What are the stories you're telling yourself that are limiting your potential? I want you to take a moment and think about that. And then I want you to challenge those beliefs. Ask yourself, is this really true? And more importantly, what would I do if I didn't believe this? Because here's the truth, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story you're telling yourself. Change the story and you'll change your life. 4, leverage pain and pleasure. Now, I want to introduce you to one of the most powerful concepts I've ever learned, the principle of pain and pleasure. Everything you do in life, every decision you make is based on one of two things, the desire to avoid pain or the desire to gain pleasure. Let's break this down. How many of you have ever procrastinated on something you knew you should do? Maybe you wanted to lose weight, start a business, or have that difficult conversation with someone, but you kept putting it off. Why? Because in your mind, you associated more pain with taking action than with staying where you were. But here's the key to creating lasting change. You have to link massive amounts of pain to staying the same and massive amounts of pleasure to taking action. When you do that, change becomes automatic. You don't have to force yourself to act. You want to act because you're driven by the desire to avoid pain and gain pleasure. Let me give you an example. How many of you have ever gone on a diet and lost weight only to gain it back? Most people do this because they associate pain with the process of dieting. They think of it as deprivation, as something that's painful. But the moment you shift your mindset and start associating pleasure with being healthy and pain with staying overweight, everything changes. The same goes for any area of your life. If you want to create lasting change, you need to leverage the power of pain and pleasure. You need to find a way to associate so much pain with not changing that staying the same becomes unbearable. And then you need to find a way to associate so much pleasure with taking action that it becomes something you're excited to do. Let me give you a quick exercise. Right now, think about an area of your life where you want to make a change but haven't been able to follow through. Got it? Now, I want you to close your eyes and imagine what your life will look like if you don't change. Really feel it. Picture yourself 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, stuck in the same situation with the same habits, the same frustrations. Imagine the pain, the regret, the disappointment. Now ask yourself, what will it cost me if I don't make this change? What will it cost me emotionally, financially, physically? How will it impact my relationships, my career, my health, my happiness? Let that pain sink in for a moment because that's the leverage you need to make change happen. You need to make it so painful to stay the same that you have no choice but to act. Now, I want you to flip the script. Close your eyes again and imagine what your life will look like when you do make the change. Picture yourself 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, living the life you desire. Feel the pride, the joy, the freedom, the success. How will you feel when you've achieved your goals, when you're living the life you've always wanted? That's the pleasure you need to focus on. That's the reward you're working toward. When you link massive pain to not changing and massive pleasure to taking action, you'll find yourself naturally motivated to follow through. 5, take massive action. So now we've talked about making a decision, raising your standards, changing your beliefs, and leveraging pain and pleasure. But let me tell you something, all of this is meaningless unless you're willing to take massive action. You see, knowledge isn't power. Knowledge is potential power. It only becomes power when you use it, when you take action. So many people get caught up in the trap of analysis paralysis. They think they need to have everything figured out before they take the first step. But let me tell you something, success doesn't come from knowing everything, it comes from doing something. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who know the most, they're the ones who do the most. They're the ones who are willing to take massive imperfect action. They're the ones who are willing to make mistakes, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Let me give you an example. How many of you have ever heard of a guy named Thomas Edison? You probably know him as the guy who invented the light bulb, right? But what most people don't know is that Edison failed over 10,000 times before he finally succeeded. 10,000 times. Now, most people would have given up after a few failures, but not Edison. He took massive action, learned from his failures, and kept going until he achieved his goal. The same principle applies to your life. If you want to create lasting change, you need to be willing to take massive action, even if it's not perfect. You need to be willing to fail, learn from your mistakes, and keep moving forward. Because here's the truth, the only failure is the failure to act. The only real failure is quitting. As long as you're taking action, you're making progress. So what's the first step you need to take? Right now, think about the area of your life where you want to create change. What's one action you can take today to move closer to your goal? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be huge. But it has to be something. Take that first step and then take the next and the next. Because action creates momentum, and momentum creates results. 6, model success. Now, here's a shortcut to creating lasting change. If you want to accelerate your progress, find someone who's already achieved the result you want and model their behavior. Success leaves clues. If someone else has achieved what you want to achieve, that means it's possible for you too. Think about it. If you wanted to become a world-class athlete, wouldn't you study the training routines, habits, and mindset of top athletes? If you wanted to become a successful entrepreneur, wouldn't you learn from the strategies and systems of other successful entrepreneurs? The fastest way to succeed is to model those who have already done it. But let me tell you, modeling isn't about copying someone else's life. It's about studying their patterns of success, their strategies, and their beliefs, and then adapting them to fit your own life. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to follow the blueprint that's already been laid out for you. I've modeled some of the most successful people in the world, from athletes to entrepreneurs to leaders, and let me tell you something, they all have one thing in common. They don't just think about success, they live it. They don't just talk about their goals, they take consistent action every single day to achieve them. So, who can you model in your own life? Who has already achieved the result you want? Study their habits, their strategies, and their mindset, and then apply those lessons to your own life. Because when you model success, you shortcut the learning curve and you accelerate your progress. 7, condition your mind and body. If you want to create lasting change, you need to condition yourself for success. This isn't a one-time thing, this is a daily commitment. Just like you train your body to get stronger, you need to train your mind to stay focused, motivated, and resilient. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through rituals. We all have daily rituals, whether we realize it or not. Some of us have empowering rituals that set us up for success, while others have disempowering rituals that hold us back. Let me give you an example. Some people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is check their phone, scroll through social media, and start their day feeling anxious, stressed, and reactive. Others wake up and spend the first hour of their day focusing on their goals, visualizing their success, practicing gratitude, and taking care of their body. Which person do you think is going to have a more successful, productive day? The one who starts their day with empowering rituals, of course. So what are your rituals? What are the habits you engage in every day that either move you closer to or further away from your goals? If you want to create lasting change, you need to condition yourself for success through daily rituals that empower you. One of the rituals I've practiced for years is called priming. It's a 10-minute practice that involves deep breathing, gratitude, and visualization. I do it every morning to prime my mind and body for the day ahead. It sets the tone for success and helps me stay focused on my goals. But it's not just about mental conditioning. You need to take care of your body too. Your physical state has a massive impact on your emotions and your ability to take action. If you're tired, sluggish, or in poor health, it's going to be much harder to stay motivated and follow through on your goals. So commit to conditioning both your mind and body for success. Create empowering rituals that support your goals and take care of your physical health through regular exercise, proper nutrition, and rest. When you do this, you'll have the energy, focus, and resilience to create lasting change. 8, celebrate your progress. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to create change is that they don't take the time to celebrate their progress. They're so focused on the end result that they forget to acknowledge the small victories along the way. But let me tell you something, progress equals happiness. When you're making progress, even if it's small, you feel a sense of fulfillment. You feel like you're moving forward, and that gives you the motivation to keep going. So take the time to celebrate your progress. When you achieve a milestone, no matter how small, acknowledge it. Celebrate it. Reward yourself. Because when you celebrate your progress, you reinforce the behavior that got you there, and that makes it more likely that you'll keep going. And remember, progress doesn't have to be perfect. There will be setbacks, there will be challenges, but as long as you're moving forward, you're winning. And commit to lifelong growth. Finally, if you want to create lasting change, you need to commit to lifelong growth. Change isn't a one-time event, it's a continuous process. There's always another level to reach, another goal to achieve, another lesson to learn. The moment you stop growing is the moment you start dying, so commit to growing every day. Commit to learning, improving, and becoming better than you were yesterday. One of the best ways to do this is through continuous education. Read books, attend seminars, listen to podcasts, surround yourself with people who challenge and inspire you. When you commit to lifelong growth, you're constantly expanding your potential and your capacity for success. Remember, the path to lasting change isn't easy, but it's worth it. It requires commitment, persistence, and a willingness to push through challenges. But if you follow these principles, make a decision, raise your standards, change your beliefs, leverage pain and pleasure, take massive action, model success, condition your mind and body, celebrate your progress, and commit to lifelong growth, you will create lasting change in your life. And let me leave you with this: you are stronger than you think, and the only limits you have are the ones you place on yourself. So break free from those limits, take control of your life, and create the lasting change you deserve. You have the power within you to create lasting change, but it's up to you to unleash it. No one else can do it for you. It starts with a decision, a real committed decision that you will no longer settle for anything less than the life you're capable of living. You've got to demand more from yourself. You've got to raise your standards and refuse to be defined by your past, by your current circumstances, or by the limits that others have placed on you. You've got to commit to growing, to learning, and to taking action every single day. And remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey. And like any journey, it will have ups and downs. There will be moments when you feel like giving up, moments when the obstacles seem too big, the challenge is too hard. But it's in those moments that your true strength is revealed. It's in those moments that you must dig deep, tap into your inner power, and keep moving forward. The truth is, every one of us has the potential for greatness, but most people never realize that potential because they're afraid to take the leap, afraid to fail, afraid of what others might think. But here's what you need to understand: failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every failure, every setback, every challenge is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to come back stronger. So embrace the challenges, embrace the failures, because they are the stepping stones to your ultimate success. And as long as you stay committed, as long as you keep taking action, you will create the lasting change you desire. Now, I want you to take a moment to think about everything we've talked about today. Think about the decision you're making right now to take control of your life, to raise your standards, to change your beliefs, to take massive action, and to commit to lifelong growth. This is the moment where everything changes for you. This is the moment where you step into your power, where you decide that you will no longer settle for anything less than the life you deserve. This is the moment where you begin the journey to creating lasting change. And here's the most important thing I want you to remember: you have the power to create the life you want. You are in control. No one else can do it for you, but no one else can stop you either. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is your decision to act. So make that decision right now. Commit to yourself, commit to your future, and commit to creating lasting change. And when you do, you will look back on this moment as the moment everything changed. You will look back and realize that this was the moment you took control of your destiny and stepped into the life you were meant to live. Remember, the journey won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. So take that first step, and then take the next, and the next. And before you know it, you will be living the life you've always dreamed of. Because lasting change is not just about achieving a goal or reaching a destination. It's about becoming the person you were meant to be. It's about living with passion, with purpose, and with a sense of fulfillment that comes from knowing you are living your best life. So go out there and create the lasting change you deserve. The world is waiting for you to step into your greatness. The world is waiting for you to make your mark. And I believe in you. I believe in your potential. And I know that you have what it takes to make it happen. Now it's your turn. It's time to take action. It's time to create lasting change. And it starts right here, right now. Let's go make it happen.